I'm sure that is so important topic for every organization. Sorry, my throat is little squeaky and I'm now unable to talk properly. I would like to invite our next guest speaker, Dr. Srinivason. And if you have any question to Dr. Vijay, please post it. We will make sure that they get answered. So welcome, Srinivasan sir. Thank you very much for, I think we delayed by 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Apologies for that. Because, we had some technical difficulties.
I also listened it. Interesting session. We could recollect a lot of marketing frameworks in this speech. Yeah.
So welcome, Srinivasan. Today, Mr. Srinivasan is talking about integrating ESG goals into corporate strategy. Okay, just to give a quick round of introduction, Srinivasan is a strategy management professional with 30 plus years of global experience in organization development, corporate governance, HR strategy, business turnaround, and legal advisory. Serving as a chairman of IMC India, mentor, visiting faculty, and certified mediator to drive sustainable growth and operational excellence. And I think you are joining from Chennai. So welcome, Srinivasan. Please, please feel free. You cover up the time, whatever.
Presentation, I will do it from here.
You can share, yeah. Just in the third button. Okay, so you have a share screen.
Okay.
Are you able to do it? You need help?
Is it visible?
Yeah, it's coming up. Yeah, I can see the screen. Maybe you can select your presentation. Maybe, did you open the presentation?
Yeah, I have opened the presentation.
No, I think you need to reshare it again. Go to the last window.
Okay.
When you click the screen share, there will be the last window, entire screen.
Okay. That.
Go to the entire screen and then click on the window.
Is it visible?
It is visible now. You can put in the slideshow. Yeah, we can see it. Yeah, maybe you don't see your video. Okay, but we can see your video and also audio. The presentation is visible.
Good. Yeah. So, good evening, everyone. And my session is on integrating ESG goals into corporate strategy. Let me try and see how I can justify my 40 minutes time and give you a practical way of implementing ESG goals. Disclaimer, and I've divided into 5 sessions. The corporate strategy, the foundation, the whole foundation of corporate strategy is to solve the purpose and to address the cause. That could be the vision statement of any founder or a chairman. And he takes up the mission like what method and mode he wants to address those missions or the mission statements. And in the process of achieving the goals, they have a strategic objective, business objective, operational objective, and the second main scope will be like on achieving the long-term and short-term goals. This is the foundation of any corporate strategy formula. Maybe sitting at a corporate office or even an organization in a not a semi-corporate and wants to move to a corporate portfolio. This is how their backdrop will work. Coming to the subject of ESG, environment, social, and governance. I'm trying to make a simpler as that so that it can be easy for understanding. So here on environment, what are we trying to talk about environment is not to harm the mother nature and living beings in the nature and not to harm the humans. So these are the core one. All the other activities, or maybe talking about water, talking about air, will be the byproduct of this common example. And the second, social, though there can be many examples can be given on ESG, but here on social we want to give it on culture and equality. Respect the culture for every individual or the community or the group. And the equality we're talking about male, female, transgender, and including the people with the best of the ability and disability also. Coming back on governance, how the governance framework safeguard the environment and social causes. And in case if doesn't go in the required line, how do we enforce? So first is about giving the guidelines and the peripheral area where they can operate. But in case if something doesn't go well, we should enforce. So the whole objective of ESC is this top three, and there can be many other way of explaining this, but I prefer easy and quite convenient way of explaining to Indian corporates. Here, as of 2024, we have about 16.9 lakhs corporates designated, active. So, in which business services 27, manufacturing 20, trading 13, social 12, transport, finance, real estate 28. Here, the business services will be majorly categorizing about the consulting companies and the project management companies like that. About social, we'll talk about NGOs, trusts, and societies. So as of 2024, we have about 16.9 lakh active corporates in our country. Let's talk about the present ESG landscape. Government is pushing the top 1,000 corporates to integrate ESG and BRSR reporting. And in 2024, around 1,170 entities have filed BRSR reports, business responsibility and sustainable reporting. According to a survey, 75% of companies have completed the sustainability goals defined and very much inducted into the organization. Around 50% have embedded ESG into their business strategy. So at times, it is not exactly into the business strategy. They have included into the organizational goals, but not exactly into the business strategy. So there is a good scope for ESG consultants and business consultants to engage with the corporates and help them to achieve the ESG goals. About 84% have voluntarily disclosed their ESG targets. Here, that means 84% have voluntarily disclosed. Rest of the 12%, 16% not disclosed doesn't mean that they don't want to do it. They have ambiguity in terms of preparing a report or disclosing formats. What are the challenges or roadblocks we have with respect to this? Awareness, ambiguity, and acceptance. Awareness is about what type of awareness program from the point of ESG can help in employee understanding. Here not only employee as well as internal employee, external employee. We also can consider about the channel partners, the manufacturer, the vendors, and slowly how do we engage with vendors and get the commitment is one another area which we need to work on. Awareness domain. Ambiguity, which data is right, what sources, and which authenticity comes from what type of authenticity, what approval the data comes in. Is it the right data, wrong data, or is the data is mixed? Those are all the ambiguity around the data sources. And at times the measuring methods, some industry get complicated with the measuring methods. And in terms of acceptance, which is good, BRSR report or GRI or ISSB, various types of reporting format available, and which report format is accepted for what. Sometimes when a venture capital is coming in, his requirement is different from the SAB requirement. So here people also worried about duplication of data or reports, replication or repetition. These are all the roadblocks in the current industry or a corporate to include ESG. They have doubts or clarification needs to be given. Business responsibility and sustainable reporting, the India standardized ESG disclosure framework mandated by Ministry of Corporate Affairs and SEBI. And this is in, they have pushed the top 1,000 companies to mandatorily comply to this, and the others can join in case if they are interested as a voluntary. But top 1,000, they don't have any choice. It's mandated for them. And some of the compliances like ESG performance and NGRBC, like National Guidelines on Responsible Business Conduct. Conduct is a guideline prepared by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, which gives a detailed and elaborative framework, like what are the checklists, what are the components and attributes to be included into the report they have given it. And this is primarily for India and Indian companies. We're talking about 9 attributes: greenhouses, greenhouse gas, water footprint, energy footprint, waste management or circularity in terms of handling waste, employee well-being, gender diversity, inclusive development, fairness in engaging with customers and suppliers, and finally, openness in business. These are the 9 attributes comes under BRSR. Let's go into one by one. Greenhouse gas footprint. Here, how the green gas emission is measured in accordance with the greenhouse gas protocol and the standards like corporate accounting and reporting standards, in which the greenhouse gas footprint is calculated, measured, mandated, or even recorded. Water footprint. Here, when you consume the water, here we're talking about the water once you consume. If the water is no longer available in the ecosystems for use, then we are talking about water footprint, how you live in the community. And such as water withdrawn, and sometimes when the water is withdrawn and it's been incorporated into the product, or rather the water is evaporated in the process, like is polluted to the point of being unusable by other user, and is therefore not released back to the surface groundwater, seawater, or third party water. This is primarily talks about how an industry consumes. Example, uh, a cool drink manufacturer, a Coca-Cola manufacturer, or maybe any juice manufacturer, depending on a particular well, and he starts promoting his product or he manufactures the juice component, to what extent the well is capable of giving water again and again. In case if the well is not able to give it back, and that means it's like no longer available. So here that becomes the well become dry and it is not productive and it's not helpful. So to that extent, this particular component, water footprint, needs to work with the numbers and with the data. Energy footprint. It talks about total energy consumption. How much is fuel? How much is through electricity? How much through the other system? And how much is through alternative energy? When you start calculating all those type into granules, then this particular attributes about energy footprint. Circularity. Circularity, like how a plastic, e-waste, bio-waste, construction, hazardous waste is being used in the circular in case. Sometimes you would have seen many of the construction waste to a tune of 5% of the construction waste being again recycled into the process of making paver blocks, and sometimes it can be used as a cement, what do you call, blocks can be used inside the in the road divider, like that. So it is used, or in case if it is not used. So when you start going through the data, this circularity concept will come in. And please imagine, these are all not stopping only at the headline. It needs a lot of data, documentation, and entry of data, working on formulas is very, very important. And the fifth point talks about enhance employee well-being and safety. The recent labor law also talks about, elaborately talks about this. So here talks about well-being, how many hours the employee is working, is the employee working in a hazardous working environment, how it can manage, or how the well-being can be managed. Assume somebody is working in a steel manufacturing industry, and they get exposed to heat. If somebody working in cement industry, it's prone for cancer when you inhale more of the asbestos dust. So it also talks about those data, and those attributes will fall under this point number 5. Enable gender diversity in business. Enable the gender diversity. We are not only talking about male, female, even at times including involving or your transgenders. The recent studies by the big companies, like particularly on the big consulting companies, they have given explanation like transgenders give good input. Their thoughts are really proactive, and their thoughts are very helpful in managing the retail, not real estate, retail industry. So that design, their thoughts are very, very important. So they include more transgenders into the practices. And point number 7, enabling inclusive development. We're talking about even our GEM, government e-marketplace, that also favors the MSME. So here we are also talking about when you do a procurement of a product or a source of vendor, try and see how best you also can include MSME into your vendor management system. Point number 8, fairness in engaging with customers and suppliers. I imagine, or maybe remember or recall about 20 years back, when you engage with a dealer or retailer, you will not give that such of respect. And the last 10 years, I could see a paradigm shift. We call a vendor or retailer as a business partners. That's a shift have taken place. So here, fairness in engaging with customers and suppliers related to that. Even it is we recognize them as a business partner. Still, there are a lot of scope for giving the due credit to them. And point number 9, openness is business. This talks about transparency. This talks about trust. This talks about integrity and how committed towards the community. This all these 9 points talks about the uh, BRSR and their attributes. What are the softwares available uh, which can be used? Because uh, the reporting mechanism, noting down and recording and submitting dashboard, it's not easy. It's really highly critical. So there are about 10, 20 applications or the SaaS model softwares available. But in my engagement with a few of the ESG practitioners and who are preparing the dashboards and reports, they have given about 5 critical softwares they recommend. One is on Workavia, second is on IBM NVZ, and third is on Persona Fini, and fourth on CSR Hub, and fifth on Reinfinity. So these are the top softwares or applications they have recommended. Here, the investor community mainly look on the ESG funding. So their way of looking at organization is different. Their way of valuation of organization is different. Rather than organization, good organization, a corporate running organization working on towards preparing the reports and submitting to SEBI, it's different. So different software, different tools available depend on the organizational requirement. I would urge you to choose any one of the best one. And I've seen some of the organizations still run with Excel sheets, and they use a customized application to plot and do the calculations. And now let's get into how do we integrate ESG into an organization corporate strategy. So, for an easy and quick way to understand, I have categorized into three: step one, step two, step three. Step one is about the readiness, how ready we are, how prepared we are. Do we need those type of questions? When you start asking, you will have a solutions or you will have a responses. Those can be into step one. And step two is about implementation, where you want to need, what are the current challenges, how you want to implement. If you start discussing, it will be step two. And step three is align your goals and sustain and develop. Step one. Step one is about appoint a ESG certified manager, and there are free programs or free courses available in a lot of skill development sites. I'm sure if you start searching, you will get it. I remember from under NSDC and the Reliance also there is one. So try and see those free certificate programs available in the common domain, and start start pushing your employees who were designated as the ESG department executives to undergo that. And second is about draft a ESG policy and SOP in line with government rules and regulations, which is about BRSR reporting, and try and get the checklist. Maybe after the session is over, I can share those checklist and reporting format also with Mr. Abdullah, and present it to the board or to the management, get it approval, and communicate to all stakeholders. These are all the components of readiness. Deploying monitoring tools and softwares. Presently, if you don't have a software, maybe if your organization doesn't, because at times the software seems to be costly. Some of the software charges 80,000 rupees per month. So, depend on the organization, you also rethink whether you need it now or you may need it later, and conduct more awareness program and brainstorming sessions to all the department and collect the data. That could be a way of first readiness. Second is on implementation. Assess the present and identify the areas of improvement. Use quality tools like PDCA cycle, value stream mapping, etc. And there are many more than that. So use those tools and see how you are performing and where are you currently. Even as to start with, using a 5S is also enough, and bifurcate as internal external type of requirement and area of improvement. Then do a brainstorm with the managers, shop floor people, and clarify the need for ESG and the importance, which is very, very critical. And third, agree on the checklist and categorize them as important, urgent, and emergency. Based on this three category, you can have your preferential activity, how to accelerate or how to give time for them to adhere, or give time to for them to implement. Step three, align and sustain. So here, once you start publishing reports, circulate the with the clear accountability and responsibility, naturally you will identify which department, which function, which process needs to be intervened, and review on action points and milestones periodically, once in a week by the department, and once in a month by the maybe the head of the function. And continuous improvement and sustainability is the opportunity to implement the ESG. What are the quality tools available? There are much more, as I said, and different ESG practitioners' approach is different. Whatever I'm talking is my way of approach. So use of GoGemba, PDCA, Pokayo, and Kanban are, are the are the best, I can say, tools to start helping or implementing ESG practices into your organization. GoGemba, the benefits like visit the place where the work is done. It's like you have to visit your place. It's like a site walk program where a CEO, along with the department head and the manager or the production manager, can do a site walk. During the course of site walk, they will identify certain areas of importance, certain area for improvement, certain area where they have to really work on. So it's like during the course, they will have a checklist, they will have a sheet, they will stand in a particular way and look at the way the product is being manufactured in the factory. So this is one good program where a management can practice. PDCA cycle is like plan, do, check, act. It's a continuous improvement cycle where we can implement into any of the quality circles program into your production sites. Okay, error proofing. It's like a by way of design you are stopping the error. It's one good scope. If somebody starts putting their thoughts into a Pokayo, you can yield a very good benefits in ASU. Kanban, it's like a visual display. It's like when things are out of sight, it's out of mind. Same way, if you don't do display, if you don't do publish a report, if you don't give the visibility of the program happening in your production site or in your corporate, it is actually lost in the mind. So start publishing more reports and visual display into your wherever the people used to join together, maybe in the notice board or sometimes in the canteen, sometimes in the production workshop also. It depends. Uh, Implementing these type of quality tools, it's all depend on the person where you work for ESG implementation. They can use different, but the whatever I'm talking, these are all my practices. And awareness program and promotion. Here we are talking about the type of awareness program. It's like capability building exercise for employees and vendor. Go Gemba walk at vendor unit. This Go Gemba walk can be a your supply chain manager can do a walk, a Go Gemba at vendor unit. So by this, your a senior person can give an input to them. Your quality person can do a Go Gemba walk at the vendors unit like that. Speak to them, give the awareness. And communication channel like email, etc., have a purpose of statement. Like when you send any email, you can have in the bottom of the email, you can have a statement of purpose like about the ESG purposes, ESG necessity, or maybe your letterhead can have the, or maybe even whatever the documents you share, there can be a promotional material like stating, talking about ESG practices in your organization by way of creating awareness. And site walk by directors. Here, this is about the Google walk. And what are the promotions which will benefit? Here, promotions talking about promoting the ESG concepts. So you give them awards and recognition for implementing ESG in vendor places or maybe at your organization. As I told you, in any of the corporate, you can start with the 5S, bringing in a discipline. So that first discipline is important. So you can slowly give them some of, you can like it's in a factory, you have about 10 units, and which unit is good looking, which unit is neat and tidy, which unit is more disciplined. You'll start giving awards and recognizing them, by which they will slowly practice the ESG also and give them awards and incentives. These awards and incentives for the vendors. So it doesn't mean that you should not give awards for your employee also. Certainly it apply, but here we add incentives. So when you add incentives to the vendor, because vendor staffs are maybe what I would say is they are more interested to collect a cash award rather than giving a recognition or certificate. They are more interested in cash awards. So try and see how you can position that and encourage nearby schools and community to participate in the ESG. By doing this, you are trying to do more ESG practices, and you are getting a visibility, and by which the other schools or institutions come to know about your organization practicing ESG. So these are the types of promotion techniques and tools you can use, and success stories and best practices to publish. Success stories like have seen in few of the industries like their employees will buy vegetables and will buy milk from the factory while they return home, because those factories start planting the vegetables and fruits, and they also have cattle feed, so they manage milk also for their employee. So this is one way of helping a healthy environment, and you are helping your staff to understand how ESG practices can be useful in their day-to-day life. So by which you can publish success stories, and you can position these videos and promote your concepts about ESG, and you can create awareness program, and you can help employees to accept and adhere to the ESG practices. ESG cascade exercise. So here we are talking about ESG cascade exercise, informing vendors about ESG norms, and validating data validation. How do you validate the data? This is like you have to go and help your vendors right at the source, and help them to prepare a small checklist. Don't give them elaborate or more complicated or digitalized tool. At times they may or they may not. Depend on the environment, you have to rearrange it. And finally, try and make people to give you a self declaration, like my application is or my product is 100% ESG compliant, or we have taken the precautionary measure of not employing children in our workfare, or we are inclusively having more female, or 33% female and male, and also into our system. Try and see how you can make that particular vendor to give you a certificate, self declaration. This is one key factor which we have witnessed uh, with a retail sector who manufactures cloth, fabric for a retail client. So by which they slowly gain popularity, that they employ that. And in fact, some of the organizations have positioned that they are pro-friendly for physically disabled people. So they actually they design the entire workshop unit in such a way they can encourage the physically challenged people to move around the factory in their cycle, where you can help them wheelchair. Production: adhere to the control process and quality assurance program. Periodic inspection is also a very key one, and ESG training. Here, by doing this, you can cascade this ESG concept, and you can make them to understand and implement into their day-to-day task. Distribution: when the product is pushed to the market, and you can do a inspection, and you can check whether your product is ESG compliant. Sometimes many of the product, when till at the level of production, it will be good, packed perfect, but when it goes to the customer place, either the packet has been broken, or the package is not good, the leakage that go and create a fuss in the customer place or in the market. So by doing inspection and audit, you can address those issues and collect feedback from the market, customer or the retailer or the distributor who are engaged in the supply chain. And I would add, sometimes you also can do a ESG promise, because that is also one way of pushing yourself towards ESG commitment. And escalation: whenever you have an issue on ESG, have a separate cell or separate desk talk about the ESG practices. And finally, publish red, amber, green reports for visibility. I also use some of my acquaintance, like this wage indicator. We talk about water, air, gas, and energy. In detail, talk about what is your water consumption, what is your average water consumption, what is your daily consumption during production, how is your water consumption, and are you recycling it properly? Recycling, or sometimes if it is a sewage treatment plant, do you have a plant that, or in case of the waste of your production goes to the effluent treatment, do you use the effluent treatment plant, and how the plant is managed? Are you using those enzymes to ensure that it eats the waste? And in air, how quality is the air in your factory or in your production site, and how is your air pollution managed, and during the process and during the course of manufacturing and shipment. And gas, some of the organization might use toxic gas for the production sites also, and industrial gases and raw material used in production. And finally, the energy. How do you monitor your energy? What are all the efficient energy tools you're using? How you actually track your energy consumption? Those type of indicators is also one way of helping you to identify the area of improvement. And by this, you also will be able to implement ESG goals into your organization. What are the benefits for stakeholders in implementing ESG? It's like ethics, trust, quality, integrity, and commitment. But what you get as a gain is a brand value. Your organization value goes up, your market share goes up, and your reputation goes up. These are all the advantage of including ESG into your practices. And some of the case studies, like which I would recommend, is you can go through the a perfect example is corporate governance failure, a downfall, a case against Boeing. That is one very good way to get yourself ready and have a better understanding about the corporate governance failure, and which eventually get into the ESG practices. And the second case study by Mr. Ketan Mehta. This I got him his thing, and this is one good one, talks about the Indian Airlines and Indigo case. This too, I would really recommend you to either read, go through it, and the annexures about GRI, Global Reporting Initiative, and which primarily talks about the environment, economy, and the people of the particular country and particular organization. And ISSB, this is also talk about the risk and opportunity related, and sustainability accounting, SASB. And finally, I come to the conclusion. And in case if you have any questions, I'm willing to answer and respond to you with my practical experiences, so that you can implement, because the objective is to implement.
So thank you, Mr. Srinivasan. Thank you very much for insightful lecture. Now, just I had one question. Now, ESG is not a. We should not see ESG as a compliance requirement. We should see as a way of life. Okay. Otherwise, it will become a big problem. So earlier, in my opinion, that governance was there from the beginning. Okay. So now, environmental and social thing, if you don't consider as part of your strategy, then you will have a bigger problem. Just you rightly said, ESG is in a free fall from Air India crash and Indigo. So that's really true. So nobody is worried about here what is the problem created for the people from Indigo fiasco. Okay, that's exactly the reason you need to really consider the social part of it. Okay, so considering that, so what is your advice for the mid-size segment? Very large organizations, yes, they need to comply. They have investor expectations. They do that. But what about the mid-size segment? Okay, so what is your advice? What they should do in coming 1 year, 2 years?
See, for a small organization, I'm talking about the MSME in factories or having a small industry or production site. They can give them a proper uniform. Okay. Number two, a place to work ergonomically. Okay. Not talking about comfortable, ergonomically.
Ergonomics.
And three, give them a place to sit and eat the food or the lunch properly.
Properly. The basic amenities.
Basic. And another critical thing, many of the MSME, when their staff, female staff, undergo pregnancy, they find it difficult to throw them away. So I always advise them, have an environment in such a way, during the course of that maternity leave, try and extract what possible, but don't crush them.
Yeah.
Many
That is
people are
very
asking me advice to retrench. Then I tell them that's not the part of your business.
correct.
When you plan, if you take female, ensure the female or understand the female will go through the cycle and she needs leave during the course of marriage. She needs to get the maternity benefit. And during the course, don't push her. Even after the maternity, she may take 1 year or 2 year extra also. So you have to plan in advance how you want to handle it. So people try and use the consultant mode and this mode or contract mode. You go through any mode, the present or the law which is going to get into force will not give you option. So the first thing is this: in case if you are a factory having a good space for a good space for a plain place where you can do some cultivation, something like that, keep a small mission, and whatever the waste coming in, whatever the food waste coming in, your canteen waste coming in, do a recycling and take the manure and put it in your land and have a small cultivation of even a brinjal or a chili. I don't know, whatever is possible, do it. This is how you can slowly build in trust and you can implement ESG. Because if I talk about giving a bigger gyan about ESG implementation, as I told you, the software itself is costing around 80,000, 1 lakh rupees and all. So not everybody will be comfortable. So start using a simple method and that should be very, very helpful.
Fantastic insight. Fantastic insight. I think that's see, fix the basics first. Make
Yes.
people comfortable. So if you make your employees comfortable in one way or other, so you are indirectly you are starting the ESG journey from the social point of view already. Okay,
Correct.
that's great. That's great. So what about the mid-size companies? Any advice for the mid-size companies?
Size companies, apart from doing whatever the basics, they can think about helping the partners. Currently, when we go for vendor audit, we are seeing the partners are still, or maybe the partner manager, or maybe the organization manager coming in BMW, but the partner owner or the we call partner, but actually they are a vendor. Okay, the vendor owner still goes in a bike or in a Maruti 800. So it's a clear difference. So many a times when I go for a vendor audit and I will tell them, say, why don't you increase this money here? Because they are putting a lot of effort, and at times to change the mask also, they feel it's costly. Why should I spend? So this they come with the concept of using the same mask, maybe washing and reusing it. Some industry is not possible, particularly where the gas and the dust they cannot compare to a normal cloth. So the mind shift has to happen at the level of organization, and even the ownership or the responsibility should come from the vendor manager also. These are the small. See, I'm not talking about big shifts. Let's have
That's very
small,
important. Yeah.
very, very important. Well, let's have a very, very basic, small. For example, if you're going and doing a review with a partner, maybe you can, the partner owner and the partner two level, allow them to sit, not the entire people to sit, because you may not have the room like that. And many times we could see that the principles of the corporate, the treatment itself is different. The usage of word is singular. So these are the small things where the organization.
Yeah, see, your vendor capability, vendor is your partner basically, right? So if your vendor is happy, so he will enable you.
Correct.
Okay, I think, and you also need to pay him on time, support him. So that will definitely help you. So you worried about your customer, but you don't worry about your vendor. So that culture has to be changed.
No,
Okay,
sometimes
especially it is in India,
the
especially in
corporate
India.
doesn't give visibility to the supply the vendors. I was doing a vendor audit and engaging with the vendor. Then I asked him. He was doing VNC missions and CNC mission using a tool and creating a small bore type. Okay, in the steel. I was asking what is the purpose of this, where it will go and fit in, which product could complement your product like that. He says completely, sir, I don't know what I'm doing.
Mm.
Then, after due course of doing interrogation with the principal side, because I need to go and submit the report. During the course, I was asking him what that particular vendor is manufacturing. And I came to know he is manufacturing a component for defense. See, defense is like almost 3x, 4x more than the normal competition cost, but he doesn't know. And the price is also equal to the normal one. And they're
Mm.
doing for a defense. They can actually give a visibility
Yeah,
that yes, I'm doing it for a defense. So, uh, basic expectation is this, rather than not giving them a bigger ESG.
yeah. I think if we want to succeed as an India, as an Indian ecosystem, all these basic things have to be fixed one way or other. There is no other way that you can compete with something like China or some other developed countries, and then you want to become like them, but you don't want to follow their principles. So what they are doing it there, or maybe some other developed countries. So you need to take something which is good. So win-win policy, I think that should be the motive. Okay, so if you follow win-win policy in the smaller and mid-sized segments, slowly as a culture it will build. Okay, and then it will transform into a better nation. That's what I think from my side.
I
Yeah.
completely subscribe to you because we are talk about manufacturing similar to China, but here we are not willing to help our vendor to develop growth. And we always wanted to have the more knowledge, more energy, more money with us, not to share with the vendor. We talk about all, but we are not talking about collaborating. So,
Mm.
to in few of the other sessions, I've seen people are talking about no, you cannot become like China, India cannot become like to that extent. I fully agree, but I'm asking, are you willing to change?
Change.
Have you ever changed your mindset by giving respect to your vendor? Have
Mm.
you ever changed your mindset by doing inclusive in your organization? No. Without that, don't blame as a country. It's
Can.
your individual attitude. Similarly, I can share one case study about Chinese manager. There is a you also can get to access that Chinese manager concept. It's like a Chinese manager gets higher pay always. Why? That's a question. It's like a Chinese manager will be with a employee right from the morning to the evening or during the course of the work. And
Mm.
after the course of the work, he go back to his place and start working his commitment, which is supposed to be delivered to the management.
He
So
complete his
here
one.
he puts his effort extra. So that's the reason all the Chinese employee, next to the god, they respect the manager
Manager.
at par with their parents. So this is the Chinese manager concept. We all talk about Chinese formula, everything, but we don't want to follow Chinese manager
Follow
concept.
Chinese policy. Here, the manager means he is like a policeman. Okay, so
He's like
you tell
inspector,
him.
policeman will do all, but he don't want to give any knowledge to the team. And that's a sad part, but many are not willing to accept. And fine, anyhow, people like me, wherever we are going, we are trying to embed our concepts.
Great, sir. I think you are doing a good job of helping MSMEs, especially, and
Yes.
also mid-size segment. So, thank you,
Thank
thank
you.
you for joining the session.
Thank
And
you.
we have a last session from my side. I'll try to
Great.
be a little shorter because my throat is not helping me.